Hello and welcome to Stretford Paddock. This podcast is brought to you by Surfshark VPN. Now more than ever, our internet reliance is increasing, from talking to loved ones, to streaming your favourite shows, to watching any of the podcasts here on Stretford Paddock. And with that increased footprint, so does our need for proper internet security. And Surfshark is a VPN service that encrypts your data, which stops anyone unwanted from seeing it. Another great thing about Surfshark is it allows you to see all of the great content from around the world. Simply sign in to Brazil and check out their Netflix. You can watch Croatian Amazon Prime. And when you're on holiday, you can still watch all of your shows from back home simply by changing it to your home nation. It is that simple. And currently Surfshark have an amazing deal. By clicking the link in the description and using our code Paddock, you can get a whole 3 months extra for free. That is 3 months extra for free. In addition, Surfshark also offer a 30-day money-back guarantee. Again, use that link in the description and use the code Paddock for 3 months for free and a 30-day money-back guarantee.
Jay here for Stretford Paddock, that's Joe Smith. This is Paddock Live. We've got an absolute smorgasbord of Manchester United stories to get through tonight. But before we do, we've got a little announcement.
Absolutely. You've seen, obviously, Surfshark there at the beginning of the show. Also, there's an exclusive Black Friday deal. Not brack, that's not a word.
That's not a
Black
word.
Friday deal. Use the code Paddock to get up to an additional 6 months free at surfshark.com/Paddock. The link is in the description. You don't need to remember it. Go down there and get up to 6 months extra free with the code Paddock.
Easy. Paddock, yeah? You can remember that
What are we
one.
looking at today, Jay?
We've got Ratcliffe.
Rumours.
Yeah, rumours.
They're coming out now, aren't
Brexit means Brexit
Yes.
for Sir Jim.
And the
yeah,
rest.
in more ways than one.
Big time.
Juve are keen on a pair of United players. Onana, we're going to be chatting about him.
Yeah.
We're going head to head with Newcastle in more ways than one.
Yes.
That's all I'm going to say to you. Yeah. And there's count them, four United players who are set for a reward.
Rewards.
Yes. Do you know the biggest reward?
What?
Some bloody Champions League wins
Satisfaction
would be a
of living
nice reward,
well.
wouldn't it? Yeah, exactly.
True.
Could do with a few rewards in that front. Right, let's get straight into it.
Let's have a look at this
First
bad
story
boy.
here. First choice, Swan Song.
Is that a pun?
Right. Producer Ethan's going to explain himself here. Get involved in the comments in the chat. Hit that like button
always like to
and
have-
let us know what you think of the puns.
We like to have a sort of a punny headline at the top.
Yeah.
First choice Swan Song. What's that mean?
Right.
Onana is concerned that if he plays at the AFCON, he could lose his place as Manchester United's first choice goalkeeper. Ethan said read on. The Cameroonian is likely to be called up for the competition that runs from the 13th of January to the 11th of February in the Ivory Coast and could miss 4 Premier League matches. Still not making any sense, this pun. Onana quit international football after a disagreement with Cameroon head coach Rigobert Song. Swan Song.
Yeah, all right. Yeah.
Is there?
Yeah.
Is it good? Absolutely not. Altay Bayinde would get an opportunity to prove his worth if Onana goes to AFCON. If Cameroon reach the final of the competition, Onana will miss 4 Premier League matches against Tottenham, Wolves, West Ham and Aston Villa. Not to mention any more that he may miss, needing a bit of a break after the competition, presumably, like they often do. Although goalkeepers, slightly different maybe. This is frustrating, isn't it? Because this is another problem that didn't exist when we bought him. He'd retired from international duty when we bought him, and now all of a sudden he might well be going to the African Cup of Nations, which is such a frustrating tournament, isn't it? Like, obviously, if you support one of those teams, it's not. But as someone that's not particularly bothered, the fact that it happens in the middle of the Premier League season every time is so annoying. Like, the World Cup was annoying. This isn't. Why can't it just be in the summer?
I presume the temperatures in the summer there would they be? I know when I was in South Africa, it was quite cool in the summer, in our summer. I don't know if that's an issue.
Well, it's because, the thing is, I don't get it because some of Africa is in the Northern Hemisphere, having the same summer as us. Yeah. Some is in the Southern Hemisphere.
So it's not the weather then.
So if it was held in South Africa,
it
would be absolutely roasting in our winter.
Yeah, because when I was in South Africa in the summer for the World Cup, it was mild.
Yeah.
It was fine. And we went all over. I don't get it. Listen, I've said this before. criticise any player who wants to play for his country.
Yeah.
If Onana was English, if it was Marcus Rashford, we'd be like going, oh, fair enough, whatever. Well, some people would, some people still be moaning. So I get it. Also, when a 27-year-old tells you he's retired from international football, you can't say that's gospel. Especially when he's a little bit erratic and he's like, oh, retired from international football, I had a row with Rigobert's song. You can quite easily patch things up and decide to play for your country again. So it's not like he was 40 and we go, well, he's not going to play for his country anymore.
No.
So I don't blame the player, and I don't blame the manager for, even if you know that, if you're he's going to miss 4 games, you still sign him if you want.
Casemiro misses double that through suspension.
Yeah, like I don't think that's enough for you to go, well, we're not getting Onana.
No.
I know there was always this theory that Fergie didn't like African players because of the AFCON. Well, we had a few. I don't really have, I mean, I'm struggling. I think of Manucho and Djemba.
To be fair, the argument sort of crumbled in front of you, hasn't it? I've never knew that was even a rumour that Fergie sort of...
Yeah, there was a rumour, and I think it was just a rumour that Fergie didn't like the idea of players going mid-season to AFCON, so if he could, he'd avoid signing players from Africa. But again, I mean, you know, Quentin Fortune, there you go, there's 3
Very well
named.
You got there.
You know,
You were thinking about that.
I don't think there's an argument there really. It's just it was a rumour. It just feels a little bit like everyone's on Onana's case. This is another reason to get at him.
Do you think he'll lose his place? That's the question here, isn't it?
I don't think so.
I don't either. Bayindir would have to be exceptional, and also if he is, great. If Bayindir is so good that he takes Onana's place, amazing.
Let's have it right as well. Bayindir's come here as second choice.
Yeah, of course.
This is the nonsense of we've got two number ones or any of that. We haven't.
No.
Bayindir has come to Manchester United to sit on the bench. Yeah, that is what he's about. And I know he plays for Turkey, but I don't know if he plays every game for Turkey. But I think he played. Did he play in the recent win over Germany? I think I can't remember. Get involved in the comments and let me know. You know what my memory's like. But if you're that good, you're not going to come to be second fiddle.
No.
So I think Bayindir will come in, and I expect him to come in for those 4 games or however many it is, and then Onana to come back in. I just feel a bit sorry for Onana at the minute. You could see he was hurting at the end of the game. Yeah. Yes, he made mistakes, and especially for that second goal, which was pretty woeful, although the first one weren't much better. But in the Premier League, he's done much better recently, and I hope he can turn it around. Well, turn it around is probably a bit strong, but I hope he can continue that good Premier League form.
Yeah.
That would be how I'd word it.
Absolutely.
Because we need Andre Onana. And even if you don't rate him, I think that the earliest Erik ten Hag is going to make a decision on him is going to be the end of the season. Yeah. I think the end of the season he'll go, like Pep did with Claudio Bravo, didn't he? He gave him a season, and he's like, this guy's not the guy that I had at Barcelona. He's not for me. Get him, get rid and get Edison in. If that's going to happen with Onana, then I expect it to happen in 6 months. I don't expect it anytime soon. So I've just got to get behind the kid and hope he hopefully can regain a bit of his mojo. Get involved in the comments and let us know what you think. I love this from Blaine Northern. It says Motters and... Oh, there you go. I've just... Bayindir came off the bench for Turkey versus Wales in the last match there. I've just been informed. Blaine Northern says Motters and Smithsy's live. Go on then. Like that one. Great to see Santa Notch, Ross Murphy, Glenn, F17, all in the chat, usual suspects. Dylan N says, Bayindir was a waste of money. I like that. I love that. Rubbish.
Just giving someone no time to prove himself whatsoever.
How many trophies has Bayindir won at United?
Fuck me,
how many clean sheets has he had?
None. How old is he? 21?
Do you know what I mean? Pathetic. Waste of money. Get rid. That's my motto. Get rid of him. Where do you stand on Onana? We've spoken a lot about him recently, but he is a hot topic.
I think he's a good keeper. Just get rid of the shitty mistakes, and we've got one of the better keepers in the league. I'm not worried about him whatsoever. That's it.
I like that.
Yeah.
That save from Haaland.
Amazing. He's a very good shot stopper. He's an above average shot stopper and a very, very good player at the back with his feet.
I was like, when he did that save of Haaland. So, yeah, there is a good keeper there. Like Gary Neville said, there's a lot of pressure at Manchester United. He just needs to get going a bit more consistently because we can't wait forever. Anyway, let's move on.
Let's move on to our next story then. What have we got here? Britain's got talent. Here we go.
I like that. It's simple.
It's a bit tapping, isn't it? It's a bit Metro. Do you know the Metro newspaper?
Yeah.
That's what they'd go for. Couldn't be safer.
Yeah.
Britain's got talent. Jim Ratcliffe is set to instruct a new-look Manchester United recruitment team to prioritise homegrown talent. Here we go then. Now we're talking. Since the departure of Sir Alex Ferguson in 2013, this is an interesting stat. Just 7 of United's major signings have been, in quotes, homegrown. Luke Shaw, Harry Maguire, Wan-Bissaka, Daniel James, Jadon Sancho, Mason Mount and Johnny Evans are the only major homegrown signings. Interesting that, isn't it? and well-placed sources have indicated that Ratcliffe, who saw United dominate English football under Ferguson with a core contingent of British players, wants to reinforce a domestic flavour to United's international squad, provided, of course, they are good enough. What do you make of that?
Yeah, it does seem quite intriguing. Just 7 of the major signings have been homegrown, which, considering that's 10 years.
Yeah,
that is,
less than 1 a year.
Yeah, that is probably a little bit surprising. But I don't really care what nationality players are, and I don't think you can always say, oh, like, if we get British, we're going to be better off.
No,
because
look at the hit rate. It's 50-50 at best.
Yeah, like, if you look at it, the first 3, yeah, okay. I think Maguire, obviously patchy. Luke Shaw, I think you can put in the success column.
Yeah.
Aaron Wan-Bissaka, maybe you could say the jury's out, but I think on the whole, it's a transfer. If you could go back in time, you'd still make it.
Yeah.
Harry Maguire, he's been better lately, but I think overall, you'd say probably disappointed for the amount of money you paid. Daniel James was good business, if nothing else. Sancho, a disastrous signing. I'm sorry. Mason Mount, jury's out, and Johnny Evans was a freebie and a tap-in.
Yeah.
So
it's not as though there's proof here that the British players outperform the non-British players.
No.
Maybe there's. I wonder what this is. First of all, it might not be true. That's one crucial part of this. Second of all, even if it is true, it seems slightly old-fashioned to me. Obviously, yes, United in the past, but the reason a lot of United's core was British was because they came through the academy.
Yeah.
And you can't sort of force that. You can't just play 6 or 7 academy players if they're not good enough. United were maybe as lucky as any club has ever been that for instance, Gary Neville, Paul Scholes and Ryan Giggs came through and Beckham came through at roughly the same time-ish.
Yeah.
That hasn't happened since for any
club.
Well,
if you take that as an example, that's a great point that you just made, yeah? If you look at the rest of, say, the 99 squad, other than those players that came through, other than Class of 92, Schmeichel, he's Danish. Dennis Irwin is Irish.
Yeah.
Roy Keane is Irish. Jaap Stam is Dutch. Ronnie Johnson is Norwegian. Dwight York is from Trinidad and Tobago. So it's not like you go,
Solskjaer, Norwegian.
Yeah, Solskjaer, Norwegian.
Yeah. So Andy Cole's the only one.
Andy Cole. And
really?
Then, so it's not like you go, okay, then it's something we've always done.
Yeah.
It was a case of that skewiffed it slightly. And also, if you go back even further, we were talking about this the other day, when the 3 foreigner rules brought in Europe, it hammered United because most of our players were, in inverted commas, foreign. Yeah. Even the ones that had been around for a little while, like Mark Hughes and Ryan Giggs, and were classed as Welsh or whatever. Then you had like Keane, Kanchelski, Schmeichel, Eric Cantona, Brian McClare. You had a lot of players that weren't sort of British, or not British, but English. I know some of those are British. So I don't necessarily think this is a thing. I think it's being overstated a little bit. Go on, you look like you've got a little glint in your eye.
No, it's just interesting, and I wonder if it doesn't feel real to me, this, and not
Also,
who knows what he thinks, but that's not. When's the last time a team won the Premier League with like a British core that they bought? Has that even ever happened once?
I think the last time
Chelsea had a bit of a Lampard, Terry thing, but they were academy players. Liverpool,
well, Lampard they bought, didn't they? But I know what you mean.
Sorry, if that's true.
Yeah, but also Petr Cech, Claude Makelele in that first Premier League winning team, Drogba, Arjen Robben, like Damien Duff.
Yeah, Joe Cole, I guess. But again, he was.
It's not
2 purchases.
It's
there,
not, and also you take Cech or Drogba or Makelele or Robin or
later
Duff,
on Ballack.
or out of that team, they don't win anything.
No.
So I don't really see it happening. I don't think you can go, you know what we need? British. And also, this contradicts other stories we've had. We've heard that Sir Jim Ratcliffe doesn't want to overpay for players. Good luck with that then if you're going to buy English players.
Yeah.
Because you're going to overpay. Because any player you buy with an English premium just costs a lot more. I know it says British, but let's face facts. Most of it, you're going to be talking about English players, aren't you?
Yeah.
Really.
How many non-English British players are there that, as it currently stands, look good enough to get in United's team? There's a handful, if that.
Yeah.
Probably the best non-English British player is Scott McTominay over the last 12 months, and he already plays for us and isn't our best player. Do you know, that's probably true, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or certainly up there anyway. So we'll have to wait and see. It's one of those that's doing the rounds, but I reckon once things all unfold, we're not going to be signing English after English after English. I don't see that happening, to be honest. It doesn't make any sense financially or in terms of what teams tend to win leagues. I just don't.
Yeah, sources have indicated that Ratcliffe wants to buy British. I think it's nonsensical.
Yeah,
Let us know what you think. I'll get in some of the comments.
Yeah.
Let us know what you think. Theo Turgu says he wants Evan Ferguson, but no chance. Jay Sayer says Eddie Nketiah and Reece Nelson to United. 100 million in July, here we go.
Yeah. Fucking hell. Also, Evan Ferguson isn't British, is he? Isn't he from the Republic of Ireland? He's Irish.
Yeah.
So that doesn't do that anyway.
Can I ask you something?
No.
This homegrown thing, this homegrown quota.
Yes.
If you play for another country, can you still be classed as homegrown if you've come through the academies?
I believe that is the case, yes.
Right, okay.
You can have a homegrown player like Paul Pogba.
That's why I was wondering about Ferguson. Does he class as that?
He might class as homegrown.
I don't know.
Paul Pogba counted as homegrown for United, didn't he?
Yeah.
Even though he's French, because he'd come through an academy in the Premier League.
Right, so you can have, like Garnacho could, or
Palestre,
or whatever, if they've come through the academy. Right, that's what the Ferguson one made me curious, because I know he's Irish, but...
Yeah, he might count as
homegrown. I don't know if that's what we're talking about here as homegrown. And also, it's so arbitrary as well, isn't it? Because, it's going back, I know I'm going back a long time here, but Dennis Irwin, who was at Leeds when he was a kid, who was at Oldham when he was a teenager, then he was at United, but he's Irish and was born and bred in Cork. Would you look at him and go, well, we don't buy him, he's not British?
No.
Of course you wouldn't.
Yeah.
But do you know what I mean? It's nonsensical, this whole idea of British and buying British. You buy the players if they're any good.
Yeah.
If you think they can do a job for Manchester United, not what the passport is.
No.
United have never been about that.
No.
Do you know what I mean? And it's just stupid. I'm sorry. Let's move on.
Right, should we move on then? What we got next? Here we go.
Old lady wants two men. Love this. Fucking brilliant. Absolutely. Without looking at the bit in the white, I know exactly what it is. It's Juve, innit? Wanting two players. Fucking brilliant.
Is that his best ever?
Yeah, I think that's mint, that.
That was
really,
the one that
really
I saw
good.
Before that I thought was a bit
I mean, it's filth.
Yeah, it's
absolute filth.
But it reads like a sort of a wanted page at the back of the Guardian, that doesn't it?
The Guardian.
Well,
back of the Fiesta.
The Worksop Guardian. Juventus, which is a real newspaper, actually. My dad used to work for it one time. Juventus are keen on a double deal for United outcasts Jadon Sancho and Donny van der Beek in the upcoming window. Sancho is one player heading out of the door, and he could form part of a double swoop by the Italian side Juventus. He currently has just over 2.5 years left on his contract. Fucking his age, isn't it? He's only just got here. But his very public fallout with Erik ten Hag has all but brought to an end his time at Old Trafford. Sources state that Juventus are also eyeing up a move for Van der Beek. An outlay of just over 30 million to sign Sancho will be a likely lever used by Juventus to navigate a move on loan for Donny van der Beek and land a double swoop in the coming weeks. This seems possible to me. I think the 30 million is probably what you're going to get for Sancho. I think that Donny van der Beek isn't anything more than sort of loan fodder at this point, unfortunately. As much as it pains me to say it, that's kind of where he's at, isn't it? He can't get a game for us at all. He needs a move. They're both desperate for moves. They're both good players. There's talent in there. There's a ceiling in both of them that we've never seen at all at Manchester United, but we know it's there. You know, Juventus know it's there. If they get the Ajax Donny van der Beek, if they get the Borussia Dortmund Jadon Sancho, they have improved as a team. We aren't going to see that at Manchester United, I think. I can't see a way where it turns around for either of them. I think they're both worth a punt for a big-ish team like Juve. I think they're top of the league at the minute. So, you know, that kind of reinforcement, a confident Jadon Sancho, even one who's just free of the shackles of what is a difficult time for him at Man United, that might be enough to push them to a title. So, yeah, it makes sense to me in every single way. Does it to you?
Yeah, I can't think of many signings who've been worse than either of them.
No.
Genuinely.
No.
They have done nothing for Manchester United.
It's mad, isn't it?
Like nothing.
For a total of about 115 million.
Like, I'm not this year. I haven't got a dog in the fight. I don't particularly dislike either of them, despite what's gone on. Donny van der Beek has been just useless for us.
Yeah.
He's not done anything of note. A goal, I think, on his debut. A goal, the last game Ollie played, he scored a goal. Other than that, but what? Nothing. Went on loan to Everton, got injured for half of it, and that doesn't help United. Jadon Sancho, there's been the odd performance. Chelsea, City, Liverpool. The goal against City, the Scousers, Leeds, big games, against big clubs. But that's 4 games in his United career.
Yeah.
I mean, if we hadn't have signed either of them, it wouldn't have mattered.
Nothing would have changed.
Nothing.
We wouldn't have gained any more or any less points
and
because they've not been here.
Yeah. And people might go, oh, Jay, you're out of order, you got an... I haven't got anything against them. I don't hate Jadon Sancho, and I don't hate Donny van de Beek. I just feel like they've been a complete nothing, signing both of them. And it's like last night, you look at that game last night, to be honest with you, that's the sort of game Jadon Sancho you'd want on the pitch. He could have done something in that game. He could have got you a goal. Yeah. But he's a million miles away for playing for Manchester United. Yeah. He's an irrelevance. And I think he's not, he's probably worse than irrelevance. He's like probably distracting us from, moving forward. So, yeah, let them both go to Juve. I've no doubt, like you say, if they can rekindle the form that they had at Ajax and Dortmund respectively, then Juve will be absolutely buzzing. The old lady will be buzzing with her men. But for me, just two completely underwhelming signings for Manchester United in what they've done. Donny van de Beek, I didn't know a lot about him. We got him and I was told by everyone how mint he was and how buzzing I should be that we've got him. And I was like, right, okay, yeah, Ajax are good. He's done well there. I get it. He's done now. Jadon Sancho was excited about him. Looked like a very good player at Dortmund. Everyone we spoke to, the numbers you saw, the highlights you saw, the games you'd seen, he looked amazing. And he's done now. And it's just, that is the sad, hard, cold facts. Yeah.
This headline as well by Ethan, old lady wants two men. It's actually a triple entendre as well, because obviously you've got the old lady and the 2 minutes. But the inverse of that, young man wants two old ladies, used to be your Tinder bio, didn't it?
Young man wants...
So it's also a play on that. It's got a personal element for Jay, because obviously...
what was my Tinder bio? Remind me.
Young man wants two old ladies.
See, you're wrong, because it was my Grindr bio, and it was old man wants any men.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, sorry, I've made a mistake.
Old man,
and it was something like
old man will travel.
That's it. And it was something like that.
Anyway, enough of that. I really hope my kids aren't watching this. They should be in bed.
Go to bed. It's half 10.
You should be up at half 10. Right, Pitter in the super chat says, I wish. Right, who's John Clare?
John Claude Blanc.
Oh, right, I wish John Clare, he says, would torpedo his way into United in the January transfer window.
John Clare.
Starlord says Motti MVP.
Thank you. Clare, is he called John Clare Todibo?
Yes. Thank you, he is.
He is,
yes, yeah. Well, we'll have a bit of that if he can.
Torpedo.
Yeah, nice.
You're like that. You're a torpedo, aren't you?
What? Is this still the sexual references?
No, I didn't say tall. Like you No, like you fire into the...
There's only one torpedo on this podcast, Sunshine, and it ain't me.
That's demonetised. That's gone. See you later.
Oh my God.
I was being complimentary. Torpedo.
And it's sponsored.
Right, should we move on?
Please, quickly.
Manchester United and Newcastle. Oh, here we go. United strike a bargain. Not bad, not great. Man United and Newcastle have both made an approach to sign Stuttgart, or as they say in Germany, Stuttgart striker Sergio Guirassy in the January transfer window. The 27-year-old has been in sublime form.
Love that word.
With what the F, 16 goals in 10 appearances so far. The only reason we haven't heard about him is because Harry Kane is somehow doing even more ridiculous numbers than that. United remain in the market for a new striker to ease the burden on Rasmus Højlund, who is yet to score in the Premier League. Newcastle, meanwhile, have been hampered by injuries to both Alexander Isak and Callum Wilson at different stages this season. Guirassy would be open to leaving Stuttgart in January, while the striker is available for a modest, Rudy Modest, who also was a striker in the Bundesliga a few years ago, for a Rudy Modest fee due to the €17.5 million release clause in his deal with the Bundesliga club. First of all, a €17 million Bundesliga, €17 million release clause is pittance, isn't it? That's note. When's the last time we had a striker score 16 league goals, other than Ronaldo?
I think it's Dennis Law.
Dennis Violet. I think it's someone from the mid-50s.
I think it was for Newton Heath.
Yeah, exactly.
Back in the day. That if you can get him for that, then get him. Yeah. Also, can we just stop every time we mention Newcastle mention their injuries?
Yeah.
I know it's kind of relevant, but I'm sick of hearing about it. And you can shut up, Ethan, as well. I'll deal with you on the watch along.
Yes.
It's just like we're gonna have it's like every time Newcastle have had loads of injuries and they're playing children at the minute. Oh, you can make an 11 out of their injuries. Bore off.
Yeah. Still be outside the top 4.
Yeah, Alexander Isaac's fit in it. He's playing against us this weekend.
He literally played 3
at
days
different
ago.
stages. Well, he's not injured now, is he? Unfortunately, no, I shouldn't say that. I'm just mean, unfortunately, we've got to play against him because he's a good player. Okay. Not that I'm wishing him injury. I'm not that guy, and I don't want him to get injured. I mean, I don't know a lot about him. His numbers look great.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll
16
see what happens.
in 10 is mental, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's like Messi, Ronaldo in their peak numbers. So it'll be interesting to see.
It's a bit weird, isn't it? He's 27 years old and he's at Stuttgart, which isn't, no disrespect to Stuttgart, isn't a massive club.
No.
And with those sort of numbers, you think, okay, he's got it in him, but maybe he's just going through a mad purple patch.
It'll be interesting to see what his numbers are like by the time the January transfer window rolls around, or by summer. You know, obviously he's not going to keep this pace up, but does he get to maybe 25, 30 league goals? If he does, then you've obviously got a player on your hands. If he ends up with 19, then maybe it was, like you said, a sort of almost freak career moment like Michu at Swansea. Do you know what I mean? Rather than, actually, this guy's coming into his prime and he's going to be a top striker.
We do need a striker and we haven't got any money. Do you know what worries me with someone like this? You could end up with him and you could be like, whoa, this guy, he's terrible. Yeah. Like, because you don't know anything about him.
No.
There's not really like some sort of reference where you could go, you know, like with Igalo. Yeah. He was past it and he weren't that great, but you can at least go, we've seen him in the Premier League, we know roughly what he's about. He's capable. Cavani, you knew what he was about. Yeah. You know, obviously both of those players passed the best, but they had a bit to offer. Ronaldo, enough said. But with this guy, it is the great unknown. And coming to United as a striker, and let's face facts, he's going to get games because Martial's made of glass. Højlund can't play every game on his own, and you can't really play Marcus down the middle. Then it's, I don't know. I like the numbers, but I'm a bit concerned that this guy is an unknown. And also, this smells just a little bit of a Sofian Amrabat type signing. 27 years old, at a mid-table-ish club in a foreign league, had a good spell or a good sort of period. Yeah, he's alright, he looks good, he was decent. And he comes in, he underwhelms. I'm not saying Amrabat won't come good, but so far I've been massively underwhelmed by him. And I just wonder, this kid comes in, plays sort of 5 or 6 games, looks pretty terrible, and you're going to go, right, well, that's the end of that one. Yeah. So I'd rather, if we do go in January, we went and got someone who you can rely on a bit more. Yeah.
I hope we go for someone that we've had our eye on for a while, not just someone that's had 10 good games and all of a sudden we go, well, we've got to spend our budget on him. If we've been looking at him for 6 months, 12 months, fair enough. But if we've just gone, bloody hell, he's got loads of goals, buy him, that seems a bit...
Yeah, I mean, he might listen, let's have a little quick butcher's look at his sort of, just at his goals, because I haven't got time to go into a deep dive. He scored 14 goals in all competitions last season, in 28 games, so 1 in 2, obviously. Yeah. I mean, the season before that, Rons, he scored 12 in 48. Season before that, 13 in 32. So he's put numbers on the board.
But to go from being a 1 in 2, 1 in 3 to being a 2 in 3, a 3 in 2. Yeah, something's happened there.
There's a lot of chat in the conversations, in the comments about Mason Greenwood. A few people sort of talking about Greenwood coming back. I don't see that happening anytime soon. Certainly not in January. If it does happen, it'll be maybe next summer, and I think that's going to be a whole different discussion we can get into another time. Yeah. I don't see Mason Greenwood coming back in January. No. And I think that this kid, for me, is a little bit too unknown. Yeah. No disrespect to him because he's having a great time of it and scoring loads of goals, but I think you need someone with a little bit more pedigree, personally. Hit that like button, people. Let's move on. Have we got another one for us?
Yes.
Oh, yes. Go on.
The proper quadruple. None of this, FA Cup, Carabao, This is the real one. Erik ten Hag, Harry Maguire, Alejandro Garnacho and Andre Onana have all been nominated for individual Premier League accolades. Ten Hag has been nominated for the Premier League Manager of the Month award for November. United had 3 wins in as many matches, defeating Fulham 1-0, Luton 1-0 and Everton 3-0. Not necessarily the most difficult of opponents, I must say, but, you can only be what's in front of you. United scored 5 goals and conceded 0. Meanwhile, Maguire has been nominated for Player of the Month, having played all 3 games. Garnacho's stunning effort against Everton has been nominated for Goal of the Month, which it is an absolute tap-in for me. I can't see anything even coming coming close for goal of the season, let alone goal of the month. Whilst Onana's save against Luton, denying a Carlton Morris header, has been nominated for save of the month. What I want to focus on here is this man right here, Harry Maguire.
Okay.
To go from, regardless what you think of him, to go from where his reputation, where his confidence, where his head and just career was at 6 months ago, to being nominated, or not necessarily 6 months ago, 3 months ago, to being nominated as Premier League Player of the Month. And not just nominated, but for me, I would say a front runner in that he's the only player up there whose team has won all of their games, first of all. He's a defender and he's had a clean sheet in every single game of the month. To me, he should win this. And to go from that to potentially winning the Player of the Month is a massive thing. I do genuinely think there's all the limitations, we don't need to go into those right now. To do that and to see him come back to where he is now and to see him getting nominated for Player of the Month and potentially win it, I think is just huge. And I feel absolutely chuffed for him because regardless of what you think of him, he's a Manchester United player, so I'm going to back him. And also, he's a player that has helped us. Yeah. He's not someone, we go back a couple of slides, Jadon Sancho and Donny van de Beek, not through any fault of their own necessarily, although in some cases maybe it is. He has done so much more for Manchester United than either of those two ever have. Like, he's someone that has done a lot of good things for us. He's done a lot of bad things as well, but he's not like a complete disaster of a bloke who doesn't try. He took getting the captain's armband off him very well. He's come out and never slagged the club off. He's backed himself and said he's confident and he believes in his ability, but he's never had a dig at the club. He's never been an issue. I just feel just really happy for him, really. I just think he's been through a lot of shit. He might not be the future long term, but he deserves this, and I think probably he should win it as well.
I think probably should, but I think even if he doesn't, he deserves a lot of credit for all the things you've said. We love a bouncing back story or a rising from adversity story at United. It's what makes us a great club. Yeah. Going back, decades for much more deeper things than Harry Maguire. But we've always liked that. We always like that. Oh, we're coming back from. You think it's all over and all that sort of stuff. And players have come back as a club. We've come back as a team. We've come back a sort of a real sort of Renaissance type rejuvenation. Idea behind certain players where you go, oh, he's a spent for, so he's done. Actually, he's not. And we've given players credit for that. We gave Marcus credit last season where he dropped 30 goals after a woeful season under Ralph Rangnick. Luke Shaw's had a very up and down career at Manchester United, and now he seems to be on the up and everyone's loving it. And I think Harry Maguire deserves his credit, and I would love to see him turn it around because I think he's had probably more criticism than any current Manchester United player lately. I think there's other players you might go over the last sort of 3 or 4 years have maybe had a little bit more, but certainly the last 6 months or so, Harry Maguire, he had stick when he didn't leave in the summer. He was getting stick off England fans, which just doesn't make any sense to me because I think for England he's been one of the better players. I mean, look at his record in tournaments, it speaks for itself. But it was pretty distasteful, some of the stuff that was going on. And he hadn't done that much wrong. He's not as good as Lisandro Martinez, and he isn't worth 80 million quid. But neither of those two things are his fault. No. And it's not like he's been one of those where you go, he's underperformed because he's been out on the piss every night, or he's got a bad attitude, or he's kicked off with a manager, or he's publicly slagged off his teammates. I mean, to get stripped to the captaincy isn't easy. And he's, like you said, he's come back, he's put in some good performances. The jury's still out a little bit. I'm not going to say Harry Maguire's the answer to all our problems. I think there's a chance he might still end up leaving in the summer. Yeah. I certainly don't think he's going anywhere in January, nor would I want him to be honest with you.
Me neither.
And I think he deserves his credit. And, like you say, the record speaks for itself. 3 games, 3 wins. As a defender, 3 clean sheets.
What more can you ask for?
Yeah, he's not the sexiest player, is he, in terms of, I don't mean his appearance, I mean in terms of what he does as a defender and United of 6 or whatever, and he's not like a Doku who's been amazing in some of those games and other players where you go, oh, Sterling, wow, he scored some great goals. It's like he's been solid, which isn't the most exciting asset to have on the whole, but for a defender, it's what you want. Yeah. So give him credit, and also honourable mentions to everyone else. Ten Hag, we know he's had a lot of stick. He's another one who, it's weird because some people are saying he should have been sacked going into November, and now he's up for Manager of the Month. Garnacho, another one who's took a bit of stick this season, he's flattered to deceive, not lived up to expectation, all the rest of it, scored one of the best goals you'll ever see. and Andre Onana, who's still getting grief but pulled off an absolutely fantastic save, and he has pulled off a few good saves like that this season. So great to see all of them up there, but I am with you on Harry Maguire. Yeah. I would absolutely love to see him get his flowers.
Yeah, me too, absolutely.
Just before I wrap up, I will get into some of the comments. Let us know what you think about any of those. Yip says give Maguire his flowers. YouTube says I got Newcastle to beat us on my Aki. It's just based on points per game for them at home versus us away, with draw possibility factored in. Thanks for letting us know that one, bro. Jim Mack says Maguire got better as soon as he shut his mouth. The thing with Maguire, right, in his interviews where he gets a lot of stick, sometimes I feel like he's damned if he does and he's damned if he doesn't. He gets asked certain things, and if you're a Manchester United player, you've got to have a bit of confidence in yourself. Yeah. And if he says something like, I think I should be playing, people go, well, you think you should be playing, you're not even good enough. Well, what do you want him to say? I don't think I should be playing. I'm terrible, mate. Can't believe they spent 80 million quid on me. They didn't want the heads tested. You'd be like, what are you on about? Yeah. So, and also things like his family getting involved in social media, that's not his fault. No. And I get it, because if that's your brother or your fella or whatever, you're going to be a bit like, hang on a minute, I'm not having it. So let's just get behind him. That's my motto. That's my motto with all of them. Get behind him. Joe, always a pleasure,
Thank
my
you very
friend.
Much.
Where can people find you?
Sloppy Joe's podcast.
In Dublin as well, of course. We are going to be there on the 28th of December. Me, Joe Smith, Adam McCullough, Stephen Howson, Uncle Webby for a little cameo, and Wes Brown, the hardest man in all the town.
Literally dripping with trophies.
Yeah.
He's won more trophies than I've had at dinners. It's unbelievable.
He's won more Premier League titles since he retired than Steven Gerrard has won in his lifetime. That's a fact.
That is a fact.
Yeah.
He got awarded 2 extra, didn't he? Because he changed the rules on appearances.
Changed the rules, which is phenomenal.
Absolutely phenomenal. We're going to be in Dublin the 28th of December. The link is in the description. Come down, join us, say hello to us, chat to us, take pictures, have a night out with us. It's going to be an absolute banger. Make sure you come down if you're anywhere nearby. And even if you live in Manchester, the flight's not that.
Yeah, get over there. There's a link in the chat.
Of it.
So click on the link in the chat or link in the description. Big thank you to Joe Smith. Go check out Smoppy Joe's, the Sloppy Joe's podcast. Thank you to producer Ethan for some very, very good puns as well. Don't forget to check out link in the description for the special Black Friday offer with Surfshark. You can get 6 additional months using the code Paddock. There's a link in the description. Go and check it out. That's been Joe Smith. I've been Jay Moy. This has been Paddock Live. Don't forget to hit like, share and subscribe. Thanks for watching.